The other day I had in a video I posted a picture of a kid named Chuki. Well, that's his name as far as we know. What's going on with my screen here? There we go. That's the only photograph, known photograph of Chuki. And on the way up, where I was going to the store, I attempted to tell his story. But, you know, a lot of times I'll talk about something and I'll jokingly say, like, don't ban me, bros. When I talk about, like, the JQ or the gay mafia or the IQ situation. But the stuff surrounding Chuki is really don't ban me, bros. So it's tough to talk about. And in fact, I just spent 15 minutes just basically going, so, I mean, it was useless. But what I will do is I'll leave a link to a video from a guy that used to be on YouTube, but he had to split, as you know, a lot of us do. And it will point you in the direction of what was going on. It was basically a really crazy thing that happened here in 2018 that has pretty much been memory hold, like totally memory hold. Like, you can't find a lot about it anywhere. And I was in the unique position of being one of those right time, right place kind of situations where I was privy to some stuff just by happenstance. Me and a friend of mine were watching a streamer at the time who was I think he was some kind of meteorologist. He had some pretty heavy-duty radar equipment. And what he was doing was tracking some of the weather events we were having around that time. There was a lot of, on Big Island, there was like these eruptions going off. And they're afraid that it was going to be a real big one. And what he was showing with his equipment, and he said too, he was doing this at a great risk, you know, and he was saying not risk of like losing a job or risk of something like that, but like life kind of risk thing. And I don't know how I know how I found it. I was just kind of searching for information on Hurricane Hawaii, you know, all the different things surrounding that event at the time. There was a hurricane coming in. A real big one. Like, I forget what the category was, but the size of which they had never seen here before. And the last time we had landfall here was 1991. So this was going to be the first landfall since 91, and it was like the biggest like hurricane category-wise that we'd ever had. So he was tracking that, and he was following the eruptions over on Big Island. And what he was showing was that the eruptions weren't organic. They weren't natural. They were being done by some kind of device. What they were doing is he was showing this that the eruptions were happening on a grid. Like one little eruption would go off, followed by another little eruption this far away, another little eruption, and then they'd start to the top again. What it looked like to him, and I, you know, was that they were trying to set off one of the big ones. They were trying to get one of the bigger ones to go off. I don't know why. I don't know how that would have helped them, whatever they were trying to do. But there's a lot of weirdness that went on over on Big Island during that time. People were evacuated from areas before before there was an eruption. They were being evacuated with the idea that they had to get out of the way because their lives were in danger, right? So they were evacuating people before anything had happened. That's another touchy subject, kind of don't ban me bros story. But I'll just say some of those people never made it back home. and the land that was theirs, their property, was taken by the government. It was all demolished and redeveloped and, you know, sold off at this point, from what I understand. So yeah, this guy who was following these weather events was tracking this big hurricane that was supposed to be coming in here. And a couple weeks before, they started ramping up all the fear. You know, they love doing that. Boarding up things, sandbagging things. FEMA guys were here, right there. That place I just walked by, International Marketplace. They're walking around with their logos and shit. They had just opened a camp there. No, well, they don't call it a camp. They call it a base, you know, or a shelter. One had just recently opened during this time, which I thought was pretty convenient. And a lot of stuff went on here in Big Island concurrently. And there were, they had barges coming in, allegedly. And allegedly they're 20 miles off the coast here. First they were over by Big Island, then they came over here to Oahu. So he's following this hurricane, and with a long story short, there was no hurricane. It was windy, right, and rainy, all that kind of shit. But we were watching it live with this guy that was doing this. That was following it unofficially with this pretty sophisticated equipment he had, to a stream of like, I don't know, 60 people, and me and my friend were a couple, and there was no hurricane. Like, there was nothing on, because as he was tracking it and he's showing it on the radar, right? It's getting closer and closer, X amount of miles out. There was nothing changing in the weather outside. It wasn't getting worse, winds weren't increasing, all the stuff that would happen with a hurricane like that. Now, the news isn't giving you this kind of play-by-play, of course, but this guy is. So we're watching this thing come in. So ultimately, what happened was, we saw it on the radar just miles out. Just miles out. And it wasn't doing anything. And then, right when it was about to make landfall, it just vanished off the radar. It didn't dissipate, the speed didn't slow down, nothing. It's just like it was just gone. It was gone. And at the time, people were like, oh, it's great. We didn't, you know, it never touched down. I don't know how, at the time, I think the media just was like, oh yeah, it lost its, whatever. You know, they'll tell people anything. I was very happy, you know, I was glad that we weren't involved in that, you know. It sucks to have to do that, you know, to have that situation. And I didn't want to be in that. But at the same time, it's like, it was all a ruse. Now, why? I mean, I don't know. Maybe they wanted emergency powers here for some reason. I never really understood why they were doing it to begin with. And of course, it had to do with Big Island, because at the same time, we had all that going on. And that's a whole nother story that I'll try to get into at some point, but that could be the craziest part of all of this. Over a couple weeks after, people just kind of forgot about it. No one talked about it. It just got memory hold. And you can't find a lot of information about it now. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to leave a link to this guy's, I think it's Rumble or BitChute, I don't know. But from his videos, you can get connections to find more information about the surrounding events. But yeah, to watch that live as it was happening on the radar and just see it like, oh, it's getting close. You have 5 miles. I don't know, it looks fine outside. 2 miles, it's like there's nothing going on. And then all of a sudden, it makes landfall. Hey, what's up, John? What's going on, man? I thought you were gone. How's Japan?
Cold, but it was great. Had a good time.
Cool, man. That's awesome. You have to tell me about it. I'll see you back at the house sometime. So there was no storm. Now I think maybe they wanted to get they wanted to get some kind of emergency situation in place. I don't know. I don't know what their deal was. I don't know what their deal was. They were making homeless people here, though, go to shelters, which are set up at schools. I know someone that went there, and they weren't giving them food, they weren't giving them water, they weren't giving them anything. Buses were arriving to take them to another shelter, is what they were telling them. And this person I knew that was there was like, I wasn't gonna do that. And they escaped. They escaped the shelter. Cause hey, what's up, man? Have a good night, bud. It freaked them out, and they were like, I'm not, why would they bus us to another shelter when they've had us here? And they kept them like all night and didn't give them anything. Like I said, no water, no food, no nothing. So they didn't end up going. Good for them. Something went on. There was an operation here, and they usually don't do something like that just for one purpose. There's usually a lot of different things they get done in one of these things. The way they work backwards. They figure out what they want, then they create the situation, the scenario, the atmosphere to then do what they want. And they tell the public it's in the name of helping them. Even it's the Hygglikian, what is that? Hydric Ian McKellen at pupil, Illuminati confirmed. I don't remember the Hygglikian. I'll find it and put it up there on the screen. God help me. But yeah, that was a whole weird situation. And there's a lot of weird situations. But there's a lot more to that story. I'm going to try to go through some stuff and figure out a way to present some of the more strange aspects of it in a way that won't get me a knock on my door. I know I say that like a lot about things, but this is definitely a knock on your door. You can't find information about it. It's been like legit memory hold. Yeah, nope. Alright, I'm heading in. God bless us all, Everybody take care. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.